hate the speckles. But oh gosh.
She's such a fool.
That literally
You are
landed.
the clumsiest person.
On my
I know. So, not the most auspicious, I can't say it, auspicious of starts.
1, 2.
Thank you.
I remembered to clap, not like
There's
Dan.
an awful lot of tripe on there.
There is.
That's no criticism to anyone who enjoys eating tripe.
Oh no, not what.
Did your dad enjoy? Hold everything.
Oh, just stop everything.
Michael is back. Why don't we make our own?
Oh gosh.
And you would think, wouldn't you? You would think, yes, no problem. We're never doing this again.
No, we're never making burgers again. Even though we bought the griddle pan, I'll use that to griddle aubergine or
It's
something.
off the table. But it's the smell.
And it's so messy.
Like fat everywhere.
Oh, the
And
kitchen
I
was like a
covered it.
disaster zone.
I covered it. I'm
Because
removing
the
it from
mess
the
was
table.
unbelievable.
The mess was unbelievable. And also, I don't want to spend 24 hours smelling of beef.
Waiting for Dan to say something.
It's a whole new year and I wanted Kate to speak first.
Oh,
and
no.
you did.
Oh, I did.
You just said I waited for Dan to say something.
I did.
So I should let you off.
Oh.
You did what I was hoping and expecting.
Oh, well, there you go.
And first of all, I think we need to say Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
I know it's the 11th of
Welcome
January.
back.
But yes, well,
Did you miss us?
hope so.
Yeah.
We all missed you.
We did.
At the start of a new year, I think it's the same for everybody. I think that you're sort of looking for signs, aren't you, that it's going to be a good year.
I suppose you do. Yeah.
Whether you admit it or not, I bet. If the sun's shining or, there's little sort of signs
It's not
that...
today.
No, that doesn't matter.
Grim.
It's the 11th today, so we'll let it off, It's fine. It is, it's looking properly wintry, and we even had a touch of snow the other day.
We did yesterday.
Yeah,
we
we
were out
did.
for a walk and there was a few little
There was.
ridiculous white
Only
flakes.
tiny bits.
Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong.
No.
It's not like Helsinki, which has how much snow? Where is it that you were looking up?
I was looking up Alaska.
Didn't you see someone said, is there snow in...
Well, I'll tell you why I was looking up Alaska. There's a new series of...
Hold everything!
Just stop everything.
Michael is back!
Michael Portillo is back, and let me tell you, I almost wept when I was watching the first episode. Michael Portillo is back with his great railway journeys. You can watch it on BBC iPlayer if you would like. There's 3 episodes at the moment, and this time he's travelling through Alaska and Canada.
Wow.
And at the moment he's in Alaska. And he was travelling through various places, and he spoke about, he was in Anchorage, and he mentioned that Anchorage wasn't the capital, and I thought, what is the capital? So I looked it up, and it's a place called Juneau. Somebody had, when I was keen, what is the capital of Alaska, somebody had asked a question, does it snow in Alaska?
No, actually it doesn't. It doesn't, never does.
I thought, oh my goodness, really?
You'd think it would, wouldn't you? But
Really?
No, it doesn't. So picture the scene. Yeah, it's the start of the year. You're looking for signs, aren't you? Is it going to be a good year or not? So the suggestion was made by Kay that we go to our favourite restaurant and have a meal. But prior to, the year properly kicking off, we're into the new year, it was before Bryony goes back to school and special sort of celebratory things. So Bryony's got some Christmas money, we'll go to our favourite restaurant, we'll go to the shops beforehand, do a bit of shopping, and then go to our favourite restaurant, have some food, come out, everything's lovely. So off we go, did some shopping, killed a bit of time, or it won't be open yet. Off we toddled, walking to restaurant, and there's lots of restaurants around, and they're all sort of starting to get bustly as lunchtime starts. And then, honestly, no word of a lie, the crowd parted. That's honestly how it was. It was unbelievable. There was no sort of distance view. It was the crowd parts right in front of the restaurant which we were heading to, and it was boarded up.
It was gone. All 3 of us just went,
It was. I wish there had been a camera.
I wish there'd been a camera, because we couldn't fully speak for a few minutes. We did go somewhere else and get a burger, but it wasn't a patch on the Gourmet Burger Company.
It was like a nightclub in there. TFI Friday.
TFI Fridays.
Look, what were we thinking?
Well,
look, we were shell-shocked. Look, we didn't
made
know
a
which
bad
way
decision.
to turn.
It was bizarre. You had a duck salad.
with raspberries.
And it had...
What?
It had like a raspberry dressing, a
Yeah.
vinaigrette.
Yeah.
Which kind of made sense with
like
the
a
duck.
but
then
not
it had
whole fresh raspberries.
whole raspberries. It was a bit weird, wasn't it?
The music was insane. And we were
was
sat
so
there, weren't
loud.
we? We were sat there and we're like, oh my goodness. We're thinking, oh, this must be a young person's place. And we turn around and it's like full of older people.
Yeah, it was a very strange mix of
much older
people.
than
There was lots of sort of teenagers. You know.
So the suggestion was made, why don't we make our own?
Oh, gosh.
And you would think, wouldn't you? You would think, yes, no problem. You need a griddle pan. And we didn't have one. So had to get a griddle pan. Got Gourmet Burger Kitchen burgers are not like burgers from anywhere else that I've had.
No,
They're genuinely
they were
really
amazing
great.
burgers. And there are still restaurants open of the Gourmet Burger Kitchen.
Just not where we went.
Yeah, there is still one in York.
So we can still go there, which is the first one we ever went to.
Yeah.
So we thought, right, okay, I got online and I started trying to research, and I did manage to find the ingredient lists for certain things that we had. And you know, I do have to say, prior to talking about the disaster, the triumph was they make this home slaw, they call it home slaw, it's their own, and there's celeriac and carrot, spring onions and cabbage.
Yeah.
And then a dressing.
Like a vinaigrette dressing, not a mayonnaise dressing.
And it was an absolute triumph.
I didn't like it very much,
Well,
but
I
you
did.
loved it.
I ate it all.
You loved it.
Not in one sitting.
So that's great. I did a little bit.
But the problem with making burgers, you have to cook them on the griddle pan, which is fine. I can do all this. I've done this before. But it's the smell.
And it's so messy.
Like fat everywhere.
Oh, the kitchen was like a disaster zone.
I covered it up. You know, for the first time ever, I looked up how people cook burgers.
Oh, right.
And it worked.
Yeah.
Because it was the best burger we've ever had at home.
They were great burgers that we made, yeah.
But still not a patch.
No.
But, you know, the trick, as I'm sure many of you will know, seems to be that you cover it over. So, yes, it's cooking underneath on a hot griddle, but it's also steaming itself.
So it's cooking inside.
And that cooks it inside, but also keeps it moist. The queen
and
of
it
all
was
words.
all those things. It was all those things. It was very
It was.
nice.
We're never doing this again.
No, we're never making burgers again. Even though we bought the griddle pan, I'll use that to griddle aubergine or
It's
something.
off the table. I'm
Because
removing it from the
mess
table.
was unbelievable.
The mess was
floor,
unbelievable. And
the
also, I don't want to spend 24 hours smelling of beef.
burger, you know, everything smelled a burger. When we shut the kitchen door, we opened windows, we put the extractor fan on. But you know,
it's just not the way to start the year.
splatters all over the wooden floor. I was like cleaning the floor, cleaning the cooker, and actually we put one of the burners on, didn't we, the other day?
And it's like smelled.
And I was like, oh my god,
wax.
what's that smell? What's that smell?
Clearly fat burger
And it was
fat.
obviously fat that had got onto the burner.
The
So
bottom
I'll have
line
to
is,
go to York fairly soon and just have one, just in case,
it's
you know,
fine.
because if we know it might be the last one we ever have,
Yeah.
then you'll enjoy it all that more.
well, you will,
won't
but
you?
I'll also be even sadder, I think.
I know.
But look, we have to go because then
tragic.
hopefully they won't shut. Now then, it is a new year and we have certain traditions. And in fact, we're going to start a new tradition today when we begin a new year. And one of the traditions is that at the beginning of the year, on the very first day of a new year, Kay counts down her top 5 yarns of the previous year.
Yes.
And she's done that. And not only have we done that, but we hadn't published the complete series of your top 5 yarn series, which you actually started in 2015.
Did I?
We hadn't published that full series on our Patreon page, so only a small minority of people can actually access it.
right.
But now the whole thing's been published, and even more exciting, it has its own designated page on our website.
Wow.
And can you believe it is only 6 weeks since our website launched?
Gosh, is it really?
It seems like 2 minutes. Thank you all so much. We've had so many amazing messages, like, you know, finally a website which is, you know, easy to use.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, what you've seen so far, it is the tip of the iceberg. You know what it's like when anything new launches.
Yeah.
You start small, don't you? And you gradually, and you know, one of the hardest things for us, I think, in the development of the website was going, right, okay, what's the starting point? Because you want the starting point to be all this, but you have to start here so that it can be up and running and working and lovely, and then gradually it gets bigger and bigger. And that is what's already started happening. Because, you know, of course, you now have your own special Yarns of the Year page. There is lots and lots of new stuff that's going to be appearing now that we're through the fun and excitement of Christmas and the initial launch and into the new year. There's going to be lots of opportunity now for us to start to work in, because there's lots of hidden features, which I will make.
Are they like Easter eggs? I
hate that expression.
I still don't understand what an Easter egg is, and why do you call it an Easter egg?
Because it's a hidden thing that you open up and there's a surprise inside, but it just winds me up.
Easter eggs aren't hidden things.
Yeah, well, they are, because there's a treat inside. Look, I hate even talking about it.
No.
There's certain things, aren't there? You know, you might love that expression, but I hate this. It's just it's so fashionable.
Yeah,
there's Easter eggs.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I'm just like, what, teenagers, what are you talking about when you tell me about Easter eggs? What?
I mean, the unfortunate thing
Speak
is,
English.
you could say that there's Easter eggs.
Oh.
There's lots and lots of things in there which I'm going to do little videos on, so I can show you all these little hidden things which you can access if you want to or not. The point of it is everyone's got different interests, haven't they? And you know what you'll find now on the site is access to absolutely everything that we do, and we've never been able to do that before.
No.
That's why it's just so exciting. But as I find with Netflix and Amazon Prime and all these streaming services, when there is a whole smorgasbord of choices, it's really difficult to pick.
It's true.
So what you need is the facility to streamline things to what you like, and those types of things are there, and I will show you how to streamline. You know, last year, and really the last few years, I really do believe it's been building to this point.
Right.
I feel that we have the balance now through the year with the things that we did last year, the things that are coming up this year. There's a whole new season, new adventures, whole new season pudding club. We'll do. People love that Knit or Forfeit.
Oh, right.
So I think it
was fun. It was fun to do.
And you need the opportunity to win back your crown as
I do.
Genius. Now look, we must just say.
Can you hear that?
You can hear that slight knocking. This has been ongoing for the last 2 days, and it's actually the reason why things have been a little bit later for us this week filming. We couldn't physically film yesterday because of the noise, and we'll just have to roll with the punches today and see how we go.
Our next door neighbours are basically knocking their house down by the sounds of it. I was so stressed yesterday because I kept saying to Dan, they're going to come through the wall. They're going to come through our wall.
The situation is this. This is the year when we want to start making some really big leaps in our production. And we've already started doing little things to do that, which is very exciting. Something's arriving today, which is going to transform the way we do outdoor productions.
Very exciting.
But also, we have so many ideas, and you constantly blow me away with your idea. We've got so many ideas for shows. The History of Knitting show, which is in the process, that will arrive. The problem is, there's only so much time in the day, and there's only so much. In a nutshell, the more patrons that we get, the quicker we can get these shows out. So if you enjoy what we do, and you want to see more of what we do, and you want to empower us, one of the things that we've done in the last few weeks is we've revisited our Patreon page, and we have set out our milestones.
Yeah.
We've revisited those milestones and the sort of key points on development of all things Bakery Bears. Developing an app. Oh yes. The further development of the website with little tidbits of information on what we plan to do. The development of new shows.
Yeah.
And the overarching dream has always been, and that is what we're working towards, and we've done little bits already. We've already dipped our toe in the water with working with other people. We want to develop whole new shows with whole new presenters. Oh yes, a whole channel. Actually, if you head over to that watch page on the website, we're already a channel. I think it's important too that, just touching on Hindrances of Britain, a couple of years ago we did a pilot for that show.
We did.
And that show, actually, think about it, that show turned into the new adventures of the Bakery Bears.
Yeah, it did.
But there was an element to that show which did not turn into the Adventures of the Bakery Bears. And this is a show which we're in the process of developing right now.
Yeah.
And it's all Kay's idea, it's all around a walk with the bears.
Yeah.
Somewhere beautiful and lovely, where, you know, along the way we maybe have some stops, we, you know, find some things, but
inevitably there'll be bits of history, you know.
But it's not about.
No, it's not
that.
about the history this time. It's about
what we're seeing.
What we're seeing,
what we're talking about.
It's just about enjoying the countryside that's around us, enjoying, you know, in a lot of respects it'll be the peace and quiet and the wildlife and just that feeling. It's more of a meditative kind of
something that you said, which I
piece.
think was absolutely bang on the money, and that is, it's all right going to these places, because if you haven't seen episode 1, I mean, actually the pilot was called The Bakery Bear's Picnic. So if you haven't seen The Bakery Bear's Picnic, go watch it, because what we did was we took a walk around an area which we know well, but it's an area we'd never walked through before.
We've driven through it many, many, many times.
And my goodness, when you get out of your car and you get on foot, you just find out things that you would never have dreamed of, and you see things that you see just amazing sights.
We found that little church in that graveyard, didn't we? And I still think about that now, and you never
little church, the graveyard, but that's a whole village that it moved.
It moved.
Yeah. So it's a medieval village, ruined medieval village that moved to a holy site.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I have a feeling that medieval village might just come up in new season, new adventures. Because this year we're doing something very different, very exciting with new adventures. But I'm not going to talk about that now, because we've got too much to talk about today already. Because not only are we talking about Knitting Horizons today, but we're also, for the very first time, going to award our inaugural Bearies.
Bearies.
Oh yes, it's the Beary Awards, folks.
Yes.
And the Beary Awards are very much like
Forget
the
Oscars.
Yes. And what I'm so excited about with the Beary Awards is, with the awards ceremony, you need music. You need, a stirring piece of music. And you've got two directions you could go in. You could go Oscars, or you could go Eurovision.
Oh.
And I'm going Eurovision. Oh yes. No. But forget all that, because at the heart of everything we do is knitting. And I think it's time that we found out, what is all this? Kate Jones, is this on? Is this off? I don't know what to say. What's on, off your needles?
Well, I've pulled out a project that has languished for quite some time. Just been sat for quite a few months, I'll be honest. And I wasn't even sure that I was going to go back to it. However, we've recently, over the sort of New Year period, we've recently reorganised our workspaces. We were previously in 2 different rooms, weren't we? I had a small little workroom stroke office on the top floor.
Look.
What do we call it?
It's not a workspace, Kate. It's the room of requirement.
We've named it the room of requirement.
Yes.
And there's nice scented candles in there and everything, and no more boy smell. It's nice girly smells in there. And as a result of that, I got a smaller desk, which came yesterday, and that's great. And it left a space.
The worktop came from the depths of hell itself. Yes. IKEA. But we didn't go get it.
We didn't go.
So it was like, getting all the good stuff without all the bad stuff.
I happily paid, it was only like £4 or something for delivery. Parcel Force.
Cherry fella.
It came Royal Mail. Brilliant.
You don't look like a K, he said.
Is that what he said?
Should have still. Actually, that is my name.
You should have, shouldn't you?
Well, Marlon Brando. Was it Marlon Brando? Who was called? No.
There was a man
John
called
Wayne.
Kate.
John Wayne.
Oh, Marion.
Marion.
Yeah, his name's Marion. Yeah. So, anyway, it left this space. And I said to Dan, wouldn't it be nice if we actually had a really good chair in that corner? A knitting chair, basically, is what I was thinking.
No. It's a knitting / library reading chair.
Yeah, and occasionally I've said Bryony can sit in it.
I've dreamt of this my whole life.
Because we've got books and everything.
We have a lovely bookcase full of lovely, gorgeous history books. And then, yes, there is a perfect chair to sit in and read.
Yeah, a lovely chair. So I wanted a really good, high-backed, supportive chair, that would be great for your ergonomics.
Because she's literally the world's worst customer for chairs.
This is true. And the only reason is because, I have these back issues, and it makes a difference, it really does make a difference. So anyway, we chose this chair, ordered it yesterday.
Kate was going to go like full-on tartan.
Oh, well, you could choose the fabrics, and there was like 1,025 different choice of fabrics. It's a bit like Netflix.
Yes.
Too much choice.
What do I pick?
Just give me 10.
Yes.
But no, there was about 122 different fabrics.
Oh,
So we trawled through, and it was good because you could choose the fabric and then the chair changed and it had that fabric on it. So that was really good. And I almost went for a fabric which was this gorgeous red and purple tartan. Instead, we went for a checked fabric, but only very delicately checked in a light
I can't wait to
tealy
sit in
blue.
it.
Really beautiful colour. Neutral, but with a bit of colour. Yeah, it looks great.
Who'll be first?
Me.
Me.
You could choose the colour of the legs and everything. So that's coming next week. So at the minute, we've just got this gap in the corner staring at us, haven't we?
What does this have to do with
So what
this?
does this have to do with what I'm knitting? Total tangent, but not, because it's relevant. And I thought, you know what I need for that chair is I need a nice little lap blanket on the back of that chair for when I'm sat there. I do like a blanket over my knees. I'm like the Queen.
Yes.
The Queen always has a little lap blanket, doesn't she, in the car when she goes travelling. I'm getting to that stage
Does
in my
she?
lap. She does. She always has a lap.
How do you know this?
Because you can see it.
All right.
When she goes
You should
to...
knit her one and send it.
I should.
Yes.
I'd love to do that. I wonder if I should use it. Oh, I should.
To do it.
I should totally do that.
Knitting Horizons, Kate.
Gosh, make the Queen a blanket. So anyway, I thought that's what I need on the back of this chair. And I remembered that I'd started a Stitching Time blanket a while ago and I'd abandoned it, as we do with projects, something else had come up. Well, this is my Stitching Time pattern, which is available on Ravelry. And this one, the original one had 9 mitered squares within each block, but this one I was just doing 4 because I originally did one of these blocks as just a sample so that I could use it for when I was writing the pattern up. But once I'd made it with the 4 blocks, I thought it looked brilliant, and I just went on and made a few more. So I thought, this is great, I'm going to go back to this, I'm going to pick it back up and I'm going to carry on with it because this would make the most perfect blanket for the back of the chair. So at the moment I've got 4 blocks and a 5th one almost finished. These are the little blocks. This is a corner one because, as you can see, these 2 borders are thicker than the other 2 borders. So this will be in a corner. So we've got blue, and what I did with these is I grouped colours. So you can see there's a blue and then there's a purple. And then I've got a neutral coloured one. And then this one is kind of pinks, but with a bit of blue and purple, but kind of pinky purple. So those are the 4 that I've already done. And then I've got a peachy one that just needs borders. I love this one. Isn't that pretty? And the yarn I'm using for the border, I know that previously when I've made a blanket, I've used Cascade Heritage in snow, but this is Cascade Heritage in just the white, because with this one I wanted a really bright white border. I thought that'd be lovely. So it's Cascade Heritage, and the colour number is 5682. But it's just white. If you go looking for it, it's just the pure white. So I'm going to pick this back up, and first of all I'll put borders on this peachy one. And I think, I was just looking at the size of it now, I think I'll just do 4 blocks across, because I do, that'll just be a nice sort of size just to sit across my lap. I don't want it too big because the chair is, it's not a massive, great big chair. So I think just 4 blocks across will be enough just to go across my knee, and then maybe 5 blocks down so it's a nice sort of rectangle shape. And I'm just using scraps of fingering weight yarn. I'm using the exact instructions that's in my Stitching Time blanket, but I'm just doing 4 mitered squares instead of 9. And I really like the look of it. I think it's really sweet, and it knits up really quick because you're only doing those 4. When I join it together, I think it's just going to be so pretty, isn't it? Oh, I really like it. And part of the joy of this sort of blanket for me is choosing the colours. So I love going into my sort of scrap basket and picking out colours for the next one, because you only need 4, so that makes it really easier as well, rather than choosing sort of 9 that are going to group together. So I'm going to get the borders on this one, and then I'll start on a new one. And I think once I've got the 4 across the top I'll then seam those together, and that's what I did on the previous one. I seamed them together in strips and then seamed the strips together, and it makes the seaming much less of a task. It doesn't bother me, I quite enjoy the seaming, but if you are not someone who really enjoys that, if you do it in bits like that, then it's much less daunting. To knit it, I'm using 2.75mm, and I'm just using some DPNs for the mitered squares that I made into little knitting needles. I shaped some Fimo and baked it in the oven to make little stoppers at the ends, and then just stuck it on with glue. And you know, they work really well, and it's just, you know, cute little needles. They were 8-inch DPNs. Dan cut the end off for me, one of the pointy ends, stuck those on. I've got a cute little pair of needles. And then for the borders, because you do need, I probably could get the borders on this needle, but it might be a bit of a squash. So I'm using slightly longer straight needles for that. And these ones are some carbons, which are not my favourite, I'll be honest. I'm not a huge fan of carbons, but these straight ones are okay. The join isn't too bad. They're just not very pointy. They're very blunt, I think. I prefer them blunt in them. I don't really mind blunt needles, but these are kind of flat on the top. I just find that a bit, you know, tedious, I suppose, but they've been absolutely fine. I'm only plain knitting. If I was doing anything other than plain knitting, you know, if I had increases or decreases, I wouldn't use these because I think I'd find it a bit of a bother. But for this, it's great. So I'm going to carry on working on that, and hopefully next time I'll be able to show you a bit more progress.
Woohoo!
On my new chair blanket. You know I love a blanket. I'm always happiest when I've got a blanket.
Perfect way to start the year.
Yeah, when I've got a blanket on the go.
Oh yes.
Dan Jones.
Yes.
What's on your needles?
You may remember last time I ripped out the Cascades live on the show.
He did.
I did, because I'd messed up the ribbed cabled cast on.
Yes.
Yes. Basically, I had just got confused with regards to what I was doing next, and I'd ended up doing 2 knits instead of a knit and then a purl, a knit and then a purl. So I recast it on straight away.
Yeah.
And instead of taking me 3 days to cast on the 244 stitches, it took me 2. So it had become quite an efficient cast on. So I recast it on, and it did. It took forever. I've got to say, I enjoyed the process. Really did. Really loved it. But it's a very unstable cast on. It reminds me of the twin colour alternating invisible cast on with double knitting.
Oh, wow.
And that twinkle alternating cast on, one day I will master you. Yes, you are my nemesis. But it's a fascinating cast on, that one. Similar, definitely, to the rib cable cast on. So did it, and then joined it in the round, and then knit for about 6 days.
But you've done
Not literally, not 6 whole days.
No. It's about an inch.
And then I realised one night that I had twisted it.
It's Mobiused.
Look, it's ruined.
So you didn't even tell me that night, did you? I think you just stuck it away.
No, it wasn't that I wasn't telling you. I didn't want to tell myself.
Yeah, you were annoyed with it.
I just wanted to put it away. Yes. And you know, but look, here is the cast on, and it is a pretty cast on.
Yeah.
And it is a stretchy cast on.
It is.
But it's a cast on. It's going to sit down here.
Yeah.
It's going to curl underneath, and nobody is going to see it.
Really? Who's going to see? And I said that to you at the beginning. I said, look, do it if you want to, but honestly.
So I've cast it on for a 3rd time. This time, I did long tail cast. You know, it's not admitting defeat, but I always want to get better. And the bottom line is, I did it twice, and the 2nd time, I did the cast on, right? I just twisted it when I joined it. And, you know, with the greatest respect to knitting, I would have lost the will to live.
Yeah, if you'd done it a 3rd time. And I did actually say the other thing is, the facing side, if I hold it close, you can see, does look quite neat. And it kind of curls underneath. But then when you look at the back side, it's a very definite slant. It slopes like this. And although you're not going to see that, it's on the inside, isn't it? that, I don't know. I just think, is it worth all of the effort if you're not kind of 100% happy with it?
But here is...
Just do long tail. I said to him, just do long tail.
Here is the recasted on. That's not twisted, and it's all right.
And it took you no time.
Yeah, it took me... Well, I sat down...
15 minutes.
I did it while Bryony was in the bath.
Yeah, so
it took me 15 minutes maximum.
As opposed to 2 days.
Yeah. Now, you know, I do get... I would like to be able to do this cast on at some point in the years to follow.
You can do it, it's just that you twisted it, which is easily done, isn't it? When you've got a lot of stitches as well, there's 200 and odd stitches.
What I mean is I'd like to think that at some point in, you know, the next 5 years, that it will be something which is there in my bag of tricks. Because I get that the cast on is important. Of course it's important. But actually, when you've got... Part of me was wondering if it was complex for the sake of being complex.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
It's the detail, isn't it? And I do like details and patterns. I think that's really nice. And I think it's great to try new things. And you did try it, you know.
And I can do it.
And to be honest, if I was knitting this pattern and I'd have seen that cast on, I wouldn't have even tried it, because it's based on a cable cast on. And I loathe doing a cable cast on. The only time I do it is when I've been knitting little cotton rabbits patterns, Julie Williams patterns, you know, the really sweet little animals. She uses a cable cast on. And I always do it because it does affect the way that it looks. So I do it, but I just loathe doing it.
Yeah.
It's for me, it's really slow.
And in that circumstance, I do sort of understand it, because that is something that's there in your hand. It's small and you're going to be able to see it.
Yeah.
But an edge which is going to be curled underneath and no one's going to see.
I suppose on the cuffs you're going to see it more, aren't you?
Folks, that's the Cascades. The yarn is very nice.
And it's by Michelle Wong, isn't it? Is
Michelle
that right?
Wong, yeah.
It's a Brooklyn tweed pattern, Cascades.
It's Merino Blend DK Superwash.
Lovely.
The colourway is 1989 Truffle.
Truffle. It's King Cole.
And, you know, it's
great yarn. You know, this had been ripped out and recast on, and it's totally fine. But with this time we decided just to chop the yarn, so that we could show you it, but also really didn't want to re-knit it a third time.
Had I got it right first time, I'd probably be through the ribbing now.
Right.
But it's fine.
These things happen, don't they? It's a lovely colour though, isn't it? If you like these sort of mauvey colours, I think you would love this. It's really pretty. I think it's just going to be a really nice neutral, but with a colour, if you know what I mean. I do like neutrals, but that aren't neutral. Like the chair that's arriving.
What else is on your needles?
Okay. This is a sock in a lovely new bag. Look at my new bag. I got it for Christmas from Dan. It's a bag made by Alex Collins Designs, and I saw this on her Instagram feed and I thought, oh, I really like it, but I couldn't justify just buying it because they're not cheap. You know, she hand prints the fabric herself, she designs it, she hand prints it, and it's, you know, that's all absolutely fine, but it's just not a purchase that I would make on a whim. But as it was coming up to Christmas, I thought, oh, I'm going to order one of those, not open it. And Dan wrapped it up for me and gave it to me for Christmas. So I absolutely love it, and I will use this all year round. My favourite thing is that, do you see the little house? It's really sweet. And there's gold embellishments. Some of the trees are gold, and I just love it. It's really nice. Very well made. And inside here is a lovely sock. And this actually will become a pattern. If you remember, I have spoke about this, but I want to put out a pattern that will include video tutorials for all of the techniques that I now use to make the neatest, tidiest sock that I possibly can. You know, I use slightly not a different cast on, but I join in the round in a particular way to minimise the jog. I pick up stitches in a certain way, I close the gap in the corners in a certain way, and then obviously there's my umbrella toe as well, which I really love, and it's all that I use now. So I thought, right, what I need to do is just knit a completely plain sock using all of these techniques, and then I can write up the pattern. So I decided actually to use some of my own yarn. I decided to dye up this particular colour because it just was perfect for what I wanted to use it for. This is Sugared Violets is the colourway, and it's a bit more purple than that, it's a bit deeper than that, it is washing out a tiny bit. But it's this gorgeous sort of lavender colour, lavender violet colour, and then it's got specks of orangey brown and blue, little blue specks as well. It's just knitting up so pretty. I wanted it to be a fairly plain yarn, but not completely plain, you know. And these sort of speckles are these are my favourite kind of speckles in yarn dyeing that you can get. And actually, it's really simple because the speckles, even though there's various colours in it, it's just produced with one dye colour. And, you know, if you do a lot of dyeing, you will realise that some dye colours break really easily. And what I mean by that is you will sprinkle the dye powder on, and then you will find that the colour will disperse into the separate colours that are actually contained within the dye. And that's kind of known as the dye breaking. And on this instance, that's what I want it to do. Sometimes you don't want that because it can mean that you get some random blob of a colour that doesn't belong in that colourway. It's quite unpredictable really how it can happen, but on this occasion I wanted it to break. So it's just one colour that I use to cut, you know, to create the speckles. So I'm up to now the heel flap, and it's just really pretty. I have got a name for this pattern, which I'll just keep secret for now, but it's quite a sweet little name. And as soon as this is ready, then I'll have a quick test knit and then I'll get the pattern up. I've got to obviously record all the tutorials, and that's totally fine. I will get on with that. So yeah, so I worked on this while we were away at Christmas. Didn't do very much actually, but got it started, got a leg done. 2.25 millimeters, 64 stitches, but there'll be a number of sizes in the pattern. And there we go.
I'm finally knitting a yoked colourwork sweater. You have to think about that today, don't
This
you?
is looking so nice. I'm so excited.
It's like your first sock, isn't it? You know, it's a voyage of discovery, and who knows what might happen. And there has been some excitement, put it that way. Most recently, I was knitting on it too late, and I got confused with my colour work, and I got to the end of a round and had too many stitches left. And there was 300, I think there might have been 300 stitches on the needles.
300? Really?
Yeah, I think there was.
Gosh. Oh, I suppose it's for all across here, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure there was.
Yeah.
So there's 300 stitches on the needles. I never stopped to think perhaps I'd messed up. I had total faith in my abilities. I didn't think, oh, I messed up. I thought, oh my goodness. I just thought the worst. I thought there's something wrong. I've missed something and I've got too many stitches on the needles. And what am I going to do? And then the next day, that was really late at night. I mean, it's just obvious, isn't it? Knitting really late at night. It was probably 9:30, which is late for us. And I just thought the right thing to do, put it down, go to sleep, look at it again fresh tomorrow, and came back fresh tomorrow. And the first thing I did was count the stitches. The second thing I did was look at, you know, the colour work, and spotted it straight away. And it was brilliant, wasn't it? Because the mistake was like eight stitches back.
I said, oh, let's hope it's not the beginning of the round.
It
and
wasn't.
you went all the way around counting, and it was right just before you. So you only had to think back about
Genius.
a dozen stitches, probably.
Yeah, it was perfect. So through it's not corrugated ribbon, it's just a bit of colour work. I'm holding it.
I was going to hold it up against me.
You can,
Would that be helpful?
but I haven't actually held it like just
No, because it's been in the bag, hasn't
because I
it?
do keep it in the bag because I'm always petrified.
That the stitches are going to fly out.
Oh,
Look, just hold on to the end of the
Okay,
needle.
okay.
Hold on to it there, and then you know
there we
it's
go.
not going
Now I'm
to.
not worried. So got through all of that. That's fun to do. Yeah, the corrugated ribbon is on the end of the sleeves and on the bottom. There's corrugated ribbon.
Yeah, it looks, from a distance, does look the same.
But of course it wouldn't be corrugated ribbon, because if you put corrugated ribbon there, it would be all sucky.
Corrugated ribbon isn't that sucky.
But it's tighter than
It is.
the normal fabric,
Yeah,
and you wouldn't want that, would you, around your chest? It would feel weird. So of course, it's just go on. And it was fun. I enjoyed doing that. And I might have put in
It looks really nice.
Yeah, I put in an extra row.
Oh, it looks lovely on the camera. Look how lovely it looks.
ooh. And then it was quite the moment, you know, because it's sort of 8-9 months of work. Oh, I'm such a fool, aren't I? Get on with it. But no, you know, you could go back and watch every episode of Journey to the Centre of the Yoke, and you'll see, you know, there's been no lollygagging around. You know, I've been getting on with it. I know.
What does that mean?
Don't know, but it's a new word I'm adding to my dictionary.
Lollygagging.
So, into the colour work, and actually what I found is the colour work's really simple.
Thank goodness for that.
Well,
You don't want it to be complicated though, do you?
part of me wishes I was slightly more challenged.
But you're doing decreases within
Yes.
it as well, so...
Yes, so as
I
a
don't
first...
think you'd want too much going on.
No, I agree. You know, because as a first sort of... Because...
Can I hold it up now while you're talking?
The decreases naturally create a bit that's, you know, where it's coming together. And, you know, when you're looking at that, that can make you panic a little bit and think that, oh no, I'm messing up with regards to the colour work and it's messing up the fabric and how it's going to lay. But actually...
So I think it's about there, isn't it? Something like that. I don't know. Where's the underarms? I don't know where the underarms are going to go.
Well, no, the underarms aren't in yet. I mean...
Oh, right. Is it more like that?
I think it's more like that because it's a long... It's quite a long...
It is quite a long, yes.
Yeah, which is
it's
good.
More like that.
Oh, it's perfect. I mean...
Isn't it lovely?
Come on! And I'm on the decreases. So it's sort of weird to think I'm only like a few rows in, and there would have been a real problem if that had come off the needles then. I'm only like a few rows in and already you're decreasing. So
isn't it lovely?
you're like, oh my goodness,
Can't
this
wait
is
to
it.
wear it.
I'm getting through it.
And I love that it looks roomy. It feels like it's going to be nice and roomy, you know. I'm not into close fitting.
No.
I like to be comfortable, you know.
So there it is. It's the Sawyer by Anna Maltz, and I'm really enjoying the whole thing. It's great, and you can follow my progress. I'll be back with another episode of Journey to the Centre of the Yoke at the end of January.
I want to wear it, so I hope you don't finish it like in the height of summer. I'll probably still...
Well, I'm on the decreases now, aren't I?
Yeah.
And it's decreasing straight up to the top. It's
Yeah,
not like
it
there's any
is,
major
yeah.
challenge coming.
No, and once it's done, all we've got to do is just sort the underarms out.
I don't think it's far off.
Right.
What else is on your needles?
So, the last thing that I'm working on is a pair of gloves. Ha-ha! Dan
Is going to cast on and knit some gloves, so Kay is charting the course for me.
What I was going to say is you've been wearing your gloves a lot, and I'm kind of jealous of the fact that you've got lovely hand-knitted gloves. And I wanted a pair, quite honestly.
What Kay doesn't realise is I've just manipulated her because I'm going to knit her some gloves, and by you doing it first...
I'm writing out a pattern for you, effectively.
It's charting a course.
Yes. Do you know what? There's actually not that many patterns on Ravelry for gloves. I'm doing fingering weight. There are some, and there's one very popular pattern. It's called the Knotty Gloves. Julia Mueller, I think it is. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it's a plain glove, but then it's got like a cable pattern just here. Lots and lots of people have knit it. The problem with that is that there's only one size, and it's like a women's large size. I think it's 60 stitches that are used. My hands are not women's large, and I thought, well, you know, I could downsize the needles, but even then it might still come out a bit big. I prefer gloves to be sort of fairly close fitting. So I sort of abandoned that idea of using that one, and I looked around at trying to find other patterns, and to be honest, I just couldn't really find anything that I thought would be suitable. So I've gone back to the book I used to knit Dan's gloves, which is The Knitter's Handy Book of Patterns by Anne Budd. This book is based on your stitch gauge. So there are a lot of sizes. And basically what you do is you do a gauge swatch in the yarn and the needles that you want to use. You work out your gauge, and then you follow like little charts to find out how many to cast on, how many rows to knit, where to put your gusset, how long to knit your fingers, and it's all detailed in here. It's brilliant, and it's really, you know, it's a great resource, but it can be a bit tricky to follow. So what I did for Dan's...
There's lots of things I've seen like this, because there's a pattern by Tin Can Knits which is similar to this.
Right.
And I think that the idea with it is... and I'm sure you're probably going to come on to this and say this, is you chart the course, you make the notes yourself, and then you can constantly refer to it.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm just not in that place.
Yeah, and I kind of wasn't either. I think I was looking for a pattern to use because I didn't want to have to go through the process of thinking the amount, as much as you do have to think to sort of construct your own personal glove from this book. However, I just couldn't find a pattern that would work. So I thought, right, okay, this is what I'll do. And I knew I wanted to use fingering weight yarn. I knew I wanted to use 2.5mm needles. And I know from that generally that I get a stitch gauge of about 8 stitches to the inch, because I knit socks for Dan using that all the time, and I consistently get 8 stitches to the inch. So I thought, right, I'm just going to wing it. I don't really need to do a gauge swatch because I'm happy that I'm going to get that gauge. So I took that gauge, looked at how many stitches to cast on, and then I've worked through the book, and I'm just jotting down what I'm doing. So I'm on the gusset increases at the minute, so I've just got written down, increase round, knit a round, increase round, knit 2 rounds, whatever it is. And once I've got it written down, the whole glove, once I've worked through the pattern with the whole glove, I will then have a template of a pattern that fits me perfectly. The second glove will knit really quick because I'm just working from my own notes rather than having to refer constantly back to charts and everything. It's just that it's more of a process. So you have got to be in that kind of zone where you don't mind concentrating for a little bit to work everything out. But I do think that's worth it because you will get a finished item that's completely custom made to your size, and I think that's a great thing.
That is the thing, isn't it? And if you think about a foot, there's actually only a few areas which you have to custom fit. When you think about a hand, there are loads. Yeah. So it's totally understandable that it is like this. But you're doing a series, aren't you?
Yes.
You're going to do a series where you cover all the techniques that people need. They're still going to need to go through and work out the sizing.
Or they might use a different pattern entirely. Yeah. I'll do a tutorial series, but not with a specific pattern in mind. It'll be more about the techniques involved.
Like your sock series is.
Yeah.
How do you say the plural of series?
It's series, isn't it? So I've started the glove, and I actually started this in a different yarn. And I was going to use, what's it called? Drops Baby Alpaca Silk, the fingering weight, because I got a few balls of it. I thought, oh, that'll be lovely, lovely soft gloves, that'll be really nice. And I cast on and I knit a couple of rows, but then it dawned on me, I thought, hang on a minute, this is a mixture of baby alpaca and silk. Neither one of those has got very much bounce. They're both very drapey yarns. And I thought, if these gloves sort of stretch out, they're not going to bounce back again, because there's no wool in there. So I thought, right, I need to rethink this. So I went into my stash and I pulled out a yarn that was gifted to me, actually. And I thought, oh, that'd be lovely. I've never knit with this yarn base. The colours were really pretty. So I'm using Eden Cottage yarns. It's the Oakworth 4-ply. And that just makes me think of the Railway Children, because the railway station was called Oakworth. And maybe that's why she's called it that. And the colourway is Wild Orchid, and it's this gorgeous mix of like a neutrally based, and then you've got dark brown, pale pink, and some sort of like a lemon, not lemon, but beigey sort of colour, pale gold maybe. Really nice. And it's 100% New Zealand Polwarth. I've never knit with Polwarth before. Have you?
Yeah.
Was it hand spun?
Yeah, it was. It was in a skein that Susie Gawley sent me.
Oh, right.
It was amazing.
I think it's more common in hand spun, isn't it, Polwarth, as opposed to sort of a hand-dyed actual yarn. But you get 400 metres, and like I said, it's Eden Cottage yarns. So I thought, I'm gonna use that. That'll be great. And I cast on wasn't last night, it might have been the night before. It's really quick, and I'm sort of halfway through the gusset increases. And at first I thought, would I be happier with a plain, in terms of the yarn, a plain solid colour? But then I thought, no, I think this will be really nice. So I did about 2.5 inches of 2x2 rib. I knit just a few rows of stocking stitch, and then I've gone into the gusset increases. And you can see that they're here. This is the thumb gusset.
Can I just say that the greatest thing in the world is having a pair of gloves that fits you perfectly?
Oh, well, here's hoping. And
with practice, absolutely.
Let's pop this over. And at first I thought maybe it's going to be too small, but actually I don't think it is. That's the gusset that's coming in there, and it seems
My goodness, if you like wearing hand-knit socks.
It seems to be fitting really nicely at the moment.
It's phenomenal. I love it.
Yeah, and I'm using 56 stitches is what I've gone for, which according to the book comes out to be a 8-year-old / women's small. My hand circumference around here is 7 inches. And according to the book, 7 inches is a women's small or an 8-year-old's hand. So that's what I did, a cast on 56, and it seems to be working fine. The yarn, it doesn't feel the softest at the moment. It's not prickly, it's certainly not prickly, but it does have a bit of a very slightly rough feel. But I think once I've given them a nice soak in some wool wash, I think that will soften them up. And also your hand is the least sensitive part of your body, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think I wouldn't wear this on my neck.
No. But
socks and anything on your hands, totally fine. And it feels like it's going to be nice and hard wearing.
Cool.
And I'm using a lovely, it's got a little bit of a rattle, not deliberately, but I think it's quite sweet. A really nice heart-shaped marker, which was a gift as well.
And this series will be coming later this month, won't it?
Yes. So I'm going to finish the first one, keep all my notes, and then I'll record a little series when I'm working on the second one.
Cool.
So if anyone else wants to have a go at gloves, they're really not tricky, and they're really quick, especially for, lady-size gloves. Super quick.
Yeah.
Because I use 72 stitches for yours.
Right.
Whereas 56 stitches, that's a huge difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to getting onto the sort of fingers and getting going on those.
All done?
Yes.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to begin
I thought we were going to have a little
No,
showman
this is a
moment.
new year. This is a new year. You'll have your opportunity for a showman moment in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a brand new year, and we're starting something completely new. Ooh. We will do this in our first show every new year. What we're going to do is we're going to give out some berries. The Beary is a brand new award, similar to the Oscars, and the point of the berries is for us to highlight to you certain things which we loved last year. And none of this has got anything to do with knitting. Oh no. So, before we begin, every award show needs lovely music, and not only that, they need a very sort of exciting and lovely title sequence, just like they do on Eurovision. So, roll titles. Yes! So, what is the first Beary that we're awarding, Kay?
I don't know.
Well, I shall tell you. The very first Beary that we're going to award this year. Well, it's this year. It's tricky though, isn't it? Because this award ceremony is occurring in 2019, but it's for things that occurred in 2018.
But that's like the Oscars, isn't it?
Yeah. The very first Beary Award 2019 is for Best Picture.
Ooh.
Oh, yes. And the nominees are The Greatest Showman, Solo, A Star Wars Story, Christopher Robin, Peter Rabbit, and Bohemian Rhapsody. What a year of films.
It's been brilliant, actually, for films this last year.
It's tough picking a winner.
It is tough.
Because The Greatest Showman was huge for you and Bryony.
It was, and it's honest. In all honesty, it's on our TV every night because Bryony watches 10 or 15 minutes after she's had a tea. She always goes upstairs, sticks it on, has a bit of a dance around, has a bit of a sing. So every night I'm watching a bit of The Greatest Showman. And
I'll be honest, it's even grown on me. And, I do wonder, though, if that is the repetition.
Probably, probably.
But, I love the message. Yeah, I love the message that it's putting out, that everyone has got the opportunity to be great.
It's true.
It is true. It is true. It's such a brilliant message. Yeah. And, also what I love about that film is it sort of wears its heart on its sleeve. It's more colourful and it's complete fantasy. And, I love I love that about it.
One of my favourite bits is it is my favourite bit, is where towards the end where Barnum is running for the train. Me and Bryony love it when he runs. We love watching him run. But he runs for the train and then he grabs hold of the train and gets on it. And it is the most fake looking train you have ever seen in your life. You know, you can tell it's been done on a budget, and it was done on a budget, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's terrible, but it's brilliantly terrible.
It is.
You know, it's not trying to be anything other than what it is.
Kay's birthday comes around, and off we toddle to the cinema with no expectations at all to see Solo: A Star Wars Story, and
well,
it just
we went.
shook my world.
We went to the cinema 6 times. Me and Dan went 6 times.
And the last time I did that was Back to the Future when I was about 11, 12.
I've never done that. The first time I've ever gone back to see a film was me and Bryony went back to see The Greatest Showman. Prior to that, I had never gone to the cinema to see the same film twice. And we saw the Solo 6 times.
And every time, at no point did I get bored.
No, and it was me that kept saying,
yeah.
Should we go back again?
At no point did I say, shall we go see it again?
No,
okay, just
didn't.
kept saying, shall we go? And I went, yeah, let's go.
And not once did we get bored of watching it. And we've watched it multiple times since, haven't we?
Yes. Peter Rabbit.
Brilliant film.
It really was.
It was a great film.
Surprised at how good it was.
Yeah, we were surprised at how good it was. We loved it. And again, there was some negative reaction to the film for certain parts of it and the sort of message it was putting across and things. But it didn't bother me at all because I took it for what it was. You know, it's a film.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be real. And, you know, and if we took these things too literally, then we'd never go and see anything, would we? You know, and it...
Personally, what we hate is we hate TV shows or films which have an agenda.
Yeah.
You need to tell the story in the best way to tell the story.
Yeah.
And as soon as you start either putting political or racial or any agenda into it, I think then that's when issues start to arise.
Yeah.
And I think there was a viewer, if you go in to watch something with a political or, you know, whatever, when you go to the cinema, you just have to, they say, don't they?
They say when you're sat in the cinema, you know, turn your phones off, switch off from the outside world, is what they say.
Watch.
And that's as it should be. So Peter Rabbit, we loved.
And then Christopher Robin.
Christopher Robin.
What a lovely movie.
Yeah.
I mean, a film I really can't watch again.
But we did watch it a bit, didn't we, at Christmas?
Because it just upsets me too much. But that's not in a bad way. It's positive, you know, because it's about a boy growing up and you know, giving up his toys.
It's so lovely.
But then he comes back to them.
He gets them back.
Yes, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But, you know, the bit that I think any man struggles with is... Toy Story is the same.
Toy Story 3.
I despise that film for many, many reasons.
It's just wrong.
It is wrong.
It's just wrong.
But Christopher Robin is a lovely, gorgeous,
it is.
Great
it's
film.
Beautifully done.
It is.
The acting's great. The animation is fabulous. It's just lovely. Yeah.
And then we finished off the year with Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
And had it not come out when it came out, I'm sure we would have gone to see it again.
We would have definitely gone to see it again, but we just didn't
too
have
busy.
the time. We were too busy in December. Yeah.
So a phenomenal film. I mean, and this is where it gets challenging because I think, being honest, you've got The Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
You've got Solo and you've got Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those it's out of those three.
Yeah.
And Bohemian
We should
Rhapsody.
say it together.
Bohemian Rhapsody has a great pull, I think.
Yeah.
You know, a really huge pull towards it. Would you agree that it picked The Greatest Showman for you?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
an entirely different film.
It is.
Entirely different film.
But for you personally, you love The Greatest Showman, but you love Bohemian Rhapsody even more.
Yes, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
But enough waffle. The very first Beary of 2019 for Best Picture goes to Solo. A Star Wars Story.
Oh, did you say it at the same time?
Oh, yes. There actually is no competition.
when you actually sit down and think about it, and we both did separately, didn't we?
Yeah.
You said, right, these are the nominees, go away and think about it. And I did, and I sort of analysed it, and actually thinking about it, it's got to be Solo.
It has.
It's got to be Solo. And we actually, if there's times where one of us is not able to sleep or we're feeling a bit unsettled, we've put it on, haven't we?
Yeah.
And it completely sends us to sleep because it puts me back into that zone. You know, I'm sat in the cinema. I have switched off from the outside world. You know, my phone's off. Nobody can contact me, and you're just there, and you're just immersing yourself in it.
Yeah.
And it's just such a brilliantly done film. The characters are fantastic. The storyline is brilliant. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's got everything for me as a film.
Without doubt, our perfect film.
Yeah.
Not just of 2018, but of our lives.
Probably at this point.
At this point. Here's hoping 2019 brings something even better. Who knows?
Who knows?
Now, we did invite Ron Howard to come onto the show to accept the award, but unfortunately he was busy. So I accept the award on his behalf. Moving on to the next Beary. The next Beary Award goes to the best TV show we watched in 2018. So please pay attention to that award and its title. It's the best TV show we watched in 2018.
Not necessarily new
No.
in 2018.
And the nominees are 6 Feet Under, Parenthood,
Yeah.
Jack Ryan, Newsroom,
Yeah.
and Bosch Season 4. All good shows.
All very good.
Yes, I mean, Jack Ryan, I definitely enjoyed.
I really enjoyed that.
Oh, that's good.
It surprised me
Yeah.
how much I enjoyed.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you're saying that.
I didn't think I would,
Yeah.
but I did. I thought it was brilliant.
I think that the early seasons of Bosch I probably enjoyed
Yes,
more
definitely.
than Bosch Season 4.
Yes, I'd say that.
Which is a shame because I think it's a brilliant
It is
concept and story,
It
and
is.
the actors are all absolutely superb.
He's super cool, Bosch, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Very cool.
Titus Welliver. Yeah, that's his name.
Is that his name?
Titus.
Titus.
Yeah.
Got to be cool with a name like that.
Yeah.
Really.
6 Feet Under.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed
We
up
did.
until the end.
The end is bizarre, is it not? What was that all about, the ending?
But, we won't say because
No.
if you haven't watched it, we don't want to blow it for you, but it is the weirdest ending to anything I've ever seen. And to be honest, it detracted from my enjoyment of
the whole series.
Of the whole thing.
I agree.
Because it just
I agree.
is so nuts.
It was silly
Yeah.
and unnecessary and depressing
Yeah.
and sad.
Yeah. Parenthood
Yep.
and Newsroom,
Yep.
I think both for me come really high up the list.
They do.
Parenthood, for those of you who don't know, is a TV series it was inspired by the film Parenthood with Steve Martin.
Yeah.
And it was developed actually by Ron Howard and
Was it really?
one or two other
I didn't know that.
producers. Peter Krause is pretty much the main character. And Peter Krause, of course, is one of the main characters in 6 Feet Under.
He was great.
Yeah.
I thought he was great.
And, there's Bonnie Bedelia from the Die Hard films
Yeah.
and, Craig T. Nelson from Coach.
I loved his character. He was brilliant.
Yeah, so lots of really strong, cool. It's just we watched it twice now. That's the second time we'd watched it. There was so little to watch last year. We just watched that whole series again, and we loved every minute of it. But then when you compare it to the Newsroom and the quality of the script writing, the quality of the acting, and if ever, I think you always.
It's a different sort of show. It's gritty, isn't it?
It is. But you should always leave people wanting more, and Newsroom most certainly did.
Yeah.
It's got Jeff Daniels in it.
He's brilliant,
the main
Jeff
role.
Daniels.
Yeah. Emily Mortimer, who of course is starring in the new Mary Poppins movie at the moment.
Right.
And lots of other really big, great actors. Aaron Sorkin, as I say, who did
West Wing.
The West Wing, thank you so much. And, we really loved watching that again for the second time. So it goes without saying that the Beary for the best TV show we watched in 2018 goes to The Newsroom. Oh, yes. No shadow of a doubt in my mind. It's superb.
Wasn't long enough, that series.
No. So, moving on to the best book of 2018. Now, this is because we don't read the same
Not read
books.
the same books.
So I have a Beary for my best book, and Kay has a Beary for her best book. So, ladies first. So please tell us, who is the award winner
for Best Book
Yes.
of last year. Well,
Yes.
this might be a surprise actually because it's not a fiction book, it's a factual book.
Yeah.
And it's a book by someone called Ben Fogle, and the book's called Up. And Ben Fogle, if you don't know who he is a presenter, adventurer. He does lots and lots of different TV series in the TV. I said series. TV series.
There you go. Lots of TV series
in this country, and he started out on a program called Castaway. I'm sure lots of you will have watched it years ago. It was. He's just sort of progressed.
Ray.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. They were always fighting, weren't they? Can you remember? They were always fighting.
There's a guy on there called Ray who eventually
he
got taken off by
Was he taken off? I've forgotten that.
a newspaper came and picked him up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a newspaper came and picked him up, took him away on a boat, and he'll have been paid a portion of money. And
terrible.
Anyway.
But last year he sort of like achieved this sort of lifetime ambition of climbing Mount Everest, and he documented it. He'd written a book about it. I thought, gosh, do you know what? I want to read that. And I hadn't known about it at all. I saw the book in Sainsbury's supermarket one day, and I grabbed it and I bought it and I started reading it literally within an hour of buying it. And I couldn't put it down. I thought it was brilliant. And I think he did record part of it going up, but I'm not sure if it was for an American organisation. I don't know. It's certainly not been on the TV here. But you can read the book, and to be honest, books are always better, aren't they?
Yeah.
More detailed.
Definitely.
So it's about his journey up Mount Everest, and it was just fascinating, you know, and I learnt so many things. And the most amazing thing to me about this book was when he got to the summit of Mount Everest, and obviously I'm not giving anything away by that, you know, it's clear that he got to the summit. When people climb Mount Everest, you go in the season, the climbing season, obviously, because the weather doesn't allow it all year round. And he said when they got to the top, there was literally a queue of people.
Yeah.
At the top of Mount Everest, you know, waiting, you know, they'd all summited at the same time, and then they were queuing to come back down the mountain. I couldn't get my head around that. He said there was
because of these companies that just take up anybody.
And this is what happens is these big organisations, people will pay them to take them to the top of Mount Everest. So they'll have Sherpas obviously with them, but there'll be lots of very inexperienced people up there, which I think can be quite dangerous.
Yeah.
And that message did sort of come across a little bit, that there are just random people up there that are not necessarily climbers as such. It's a great book, and if you're interested in that sort of thing, then I would really recommend it.
My best book of 2018, my Beary, goes to Roman Britain by Guy de la Bedoye.
Oh, right, I bought you that.
Yes. The reason why that wins my Beary for 2018 is because we both enjoyed it, because I was reading you things constantly. Right. The whole time I was reading it, I would read it, I'd read something interesting that I knew she would like, and then I would tell her about it. Yeah. So it is as if we both read it, and you loved it.
I did.
And I loved it, and I learnt more about Roman Britain than I've ever learned from anywhere I've ever been, or, you know, any book I've ever read. It's absolutely phenomenal. What's so great about it is it's written in a way which is really easy to read. It's interesting. It's the type of thing which you can dip in and out of. So, you know, if you're interested in the Romans, I would recommend it, because, you know, I think you would enjoy it, whether you're interested in British history or not. If you're interested in the Romans, you're going to enjoy it. If you're interested in British history, definitely buy it, because there's so many things which are still with us today.
And if you ever watched a lot of Time Team, he was on it a lot.
Yes.
Whenever they were doing a Roman dig, he was very often there, and he looks like a Roman, I think. He's got this Roman nose.
Yeah, maybe that's why he likes it so much. We're getting to the last two awards. Oh my goodness. Neil, the final award it's like the best actor. The final award. You know, it's the big one. The one before that, though, is something which has become very important to us through 2018. All stemming from our holiday and our, you know, sort of decision to make time for us. And this is the Beary for the best album of 2018. And the nominees are The Greatest Showman soundtrack, the solo A Star Wars Story soundtrack, Josh Groban Bridges, Jesus Christ Superstar live in concert,
Brilliant.
Bohemian Rhapsody soundtrack. All great albums.
All brilliant.
Now, the Josh Groban Bridges, your favourite Josh Groban tracks aren't any of the songs that are on Bridges.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Because you've done a compilation for me.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I mean, my favourite Josh Groban album, actually, is he did an iTunes Live album. And, you know, I think this is specific to Apple. And they get artists in and they do all their best songs. And he did it. And it's just phenomenal. All the songs he does, it's like about 5-6 tracks. And we listen to that tons.
All the time.
But there are some songs off Bridges which you really, really like.
Yeah.
The Greatest Showman soundtrack.
Yeah. That's...
Goes without saying, I suppose. Because you did listen to it a lot early on.
Yeah, I did listen to it a lot when it first came out, but I haven't lately. And it's only because, as I said before, you know, it's on every night. Yeah, I love it. But it's not something... I don't think it's got the longevity, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. The solo soundtrack is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
And we listen to it all the time.
All the time. When we're working a lot, we have it on in the background.
Superb album by John Powell.
Yeah.
It picks up on all the sort of older Star Wars themes, so it feels like a Star Wars soundtrack, but it's got so many great new... It's superb. Jesus Christ Superstar Live.
Oh, that's amazing. It's amazing.
It blew my mind. Jesus Christ Superstar is the reason why... That musical is the reason why I started drumming. I heard it when I was extremely young and loved it, and I've loved it my whole life, and I've had every version of it, and it's not that I'd fallen out of love with it at all. It was still always there. But you know when something appears that reignites a thing that's always been in you, my goodness, that did. It's just superb.
Because there was a new show done. It was just a one-night thing,
it's in
wasn't
concert
it?
on NBC. NBC, I'm sure anyone in America will know, they've done a few things over the years. I think they did a Grease thing.
Right.
They definitely did a Hairspray thing. And the one they chose to do this year was Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh, it was amazing.
John Legend was Jesus. It's just superb.
And there's like a rock band fella, isn't there? Who's that?
He's
Swedish?
a guy,
Is he
Swedish fella. Yeah, he won.
It's like a heavy metal rock.
He won the X Factor in
right.
Sweden. You know, he won it singing
He's
like
phenomenal.
metal.
I mean, it's a brilliant thing. We're trying to get it on DVD, aren't we? But it's tricky to get hold of in this country.
You could only get it on an international region, so it wouldn't
like
play.
Region 1, and we need Region 2.
Yeah.
So we're hoping.
And then, of course, the Bohemian Rhapsody soundtrack, which we've been listening to over and over again. And
a lot.
The Bohemian Rhapsody soundtrack, to be honest, it's totally got me into Queen more than I ever was.
Yeah, we've been listening to a lot of early Queen as well. We've been listening to.
I mean, it's really hard. This is really hard.
It is very hard.
What's the winner? What? Honestly, I'm not sure what we're going with. Right. Okay. Well,
do you not agree?
Well, yeah, I do, because it's just like constantly on. Look, enough waffling. The Beary for the best album we listened to in 2018 goes to Solo, A Star Wars Story.
But you always get that with the Oscars.
Yeah.
This film wins
They
this
do.
Oscar, this, you know, lots. It happens, doesn't it?
Moving swiftly on to the final.
I don't know what this is.
It is the most important of all the Beary Awards that we've given out today. And I'm sure you'll agree that they have been quite auspicious and exciting so far. The final one, though, is just, it's the pinnacle. It is the Beary for the best ice cream which we ate in 2018. Yes, it is the most important of all the berries, and the nominees are Ben & Jerry's Blondie Brownie Core, My Ex's Soul, English Lake's Salted Licorice, English Lake's Lemon Burst, English Lake's Raspberry Ripple.
Right.
Oh, yes.
So is there two winners for this, or is there just one?
No, there is one winner.
Right.
And I'm the one who has tried them all.
Right, I've tried all but one of those.
Did you try My Ex's Soul?
Yes.
Right.
It just tasted like vanilla.
Yeah, it did, but it was worth it just for the comedy value.
It was, if you don't remember us saying, but Bryony had this on holiday, and it was black. The ice cream was black. It just tasted of vanilla, but it had charcoal in it, and that's why it was black, and it turned your entire mouth black. Bryony thought it was the best thing she'd ever done. She looked horrific. but she thought it was great.
The winner of the Best Ice Cream 2018 goes to English Lakes Salted Licorice.
I was going to say that
It is the most amazing ice cream I've ever eaten in the history of the world.
If you like licorice, of course.
I would say that even someone who didn't like licorice would like that ice cream.
You might be right.
Because it doesn't have that licorice flavour which you get when you eat licorice. And also, I think licorice gets a bad rap because I think an awful lot of people discard it because other people say, I don't like it.
True, yeah.
You know, if you haven't tried it, I would suggest you do. Try good stuff and you might just like it. But that salted licorice started me off on a journey through ice cream that led me to eat so much ice cream in 2018 that I got sick of it.
You did.
And I had about 6 weeks off.
More than that, I'd say.
I probably
Couple of
through
months.
October, November, and maybe even December.
Yeah, 3 months you've barely eaten ice cream, which I was like, what is going on? You're not having any ice cream for your pudding. This is just unheard of. And he's like, I've gone off it. What?
So yes, salted licorice wins the prize. Will they hold on to it next year?
Next year, who
I
knows?
doubt it very much because we're going to go on the biggest quest ever
We are.
for ice cream.
Because we're going back to the lakes in the summer.
Yes, and we're going to be trying so many more.
And now we know that company exists, we
Yeah.
will be trying a different ice cream every day. Let's see if we can do that.
And that company, English Lakes Ice Cream, it's listed in the show notes below. And actually, my ex's soul, that came from another really cool ice cream shop that we need to go back to.
That one was in a different place.
Hawkshead. Yes.
Great ice cream shop in Hawkshead.
Really good, independent, sat there on its own. I think they make them all on site.
Yeah.
Just phenomenal. And so ends the very first Beary Awards. We will see you in 1 year's time for the next round of awards.
Congratulations to the winners.
Yes, oh yes. It's time for us to find out, Kate Jones, what's off your needles?
Do you have something?
So do I.
And you do too. Am I going first? My finished item is a pair of socks. And if you remember, I finished this pair on the last episode, I think, which were knit in a pattern that I made up based on a 4x4 rib. Wasn't going to put it out as a pattern, but quite a lot of people said they would like it. So I thought, okay, let's do that. So I've knit up another pair in like a speckled yarn because it looks brilliant in self-striping, and it's great that the pattern works with self-striping because it can sometimes be difficult to find patterns that work with a striping yarn. But for the actual pattern itself, I wanted a more kind of universal yarn, if you like. And I asked Kelly at Lay Family Yarns if she would dye me up a yarn based on the promo pictures for Bohemian Rhapsody, which were purples and oranges and pinks and golds, very bright and vibrant, but I wanted that kind of in a toned down fashion. So she did exactly that for me. And these were the yarns that I used. So the colourway is Bohemia, and there's the main colour, which is a pale pink base with speckles of orange and purple, and then a gold mini to go with it. So absolutely perfect. And she dyed me that up on her 80/20 base, high twist, which is what I wanted. So fantastic. So I've knit up a pair of socks, exactly the same pattern, but using that yarn, and I love how they look. I think they look great. I'm really, really pleased with them. So it's based, like I said, on a 4x4 rib, but then we've got a bit of texture going on down the leg. Really nice, and the yarn's so pretty. I love how it works up. If you look at it just in the sort of stocking stitch section, it's beautiful speckles. And I just used the gold for the heel on this, because the yarn itself was so pretty, I wanted to use it for the rest, onto the toe. So this pattern is going to be called the Rhapsody Socks. I thought that was brilliant. It was Bohemia yarn, and obviously Rhapsody goes with that. I always wanted to call them Rhapsody Socks. The socks that I designed with this yarn, I wanted to call Rhapsody Socks because of the whole Bohemian Rhapsody thing. But I just presumed that there would be a project on Ravelry, a pattern on Ravelry called that. But actually, when I looked it up, there's lots of patterns that include the word Bohemia. There's nothing that's just Rhapsody Socks. So I thought I'm gonna have that. I'm gonna use that because it's perfect. Perfect for lots of reasons, really. It ties in with the yarn colourway. It works in that the pattern is based on a 4x4 rib, and there's 4 members of the band Queen, so that's really good. There's a very definite rhythm to the pattern, a very strong rhythm, which again works with the musical theme. I think the design also, if you look at it sort of this way on, it's kind of reminiscent of the keys on a piano. So that's really cool as well. So it all kind of fit. So this pattern is currently, it'll be in test knitting by the time you see this, or just about to be going into test knitting. Shouldn't take very long, and then I'll get the pattern up on Ravelry. So hopefully for the next episode I should be able to tell you that that pattern is up and available. So super pleased. And they just knit up really, they seem to knit up really quick. They knit up really quick in the self-striping, and then these ones also knit up really quick. I knit the second sock in 3 days, because it's a bit like self-striping, the way the pattern repeat works. You know, you do one bit and then you're like, oh, and on to the next bit, on to the next bit, on to the next bit, and it just seems to go super quick. So Rhapsody Socks coming soon. Dan Jones,
yes,
what's off your needles?
Literally just.
You were just weaving in an end, weren't you?
3 ends.
I sensed ends being woven in.
I weaved in 3 ends.
Wow, you wove in 3 ends.
I weaved them in.
Is it weaved?
No.
Or woven? It's wove.
Yeah,
Woven. Weaved. I'm not sure.
I've woven in 3 ends.
Okay.
I don't know. Look, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Shall I put it on?
Well, no, because you look stupid.
Well, I think it's good for people to see it on. It might not look totally stupid.
Look, we did identify that there was an issue.
There's a bit of an issue.
But I didn't, because we checked gauge and it just didn't make sense.
You know, and it doesn't slouch really very well. This has been washed as well. It just doesn't slouch very well.
It's the to the top hat, which I really enjoyed knitting. It was all really good, and it's a good design. But
you see, I think if I cuff it, carry on talking.
Well, it did work. It did work when you cuffed it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. It just looks a bit odd, and you won't wear it like that. And I don't blame you for not wearing it like that.
Well, I might.
Well, you know, I think sometimes you can put things down to the need for practice, can't you? You know, it's the most complicated. You know.
You see, that kind of works, doesn't it?
It did feel long when I was knitting it, and I was saying...
That kind of works, do you not think?
Yeah.
I think it does.
Well, yeah.
It's a tiny bit long in top, but it doesn't look ridiculous, does it?
We looked at the pattern, and we did identify some issues, and it's not been knit an awful lot, has it?
No.
I think there might be some issues with the fit, because my gauge... I'm sure when we looked at it, my gauge should have made it smaller.
It should. Your gauge was tighter. So, but of the pictures that you can see on Ravelry, the hat does look long, you know.
So maybe the yarns are on. But colour work is always going to be sticky uppy, isn't it? It's never going to slouch as much as...
It's never really going to slouch, is it, properly colour work? Because it's got that structure on the back of it with all the flows. So unless you've knit it incredibly loose, your floats on the back, I don't think it's really ever going to be, you know, slouch as such, because it's not going to give you that drape, is it?
You'd need a really weighty pom-pom, wouldn't you? That would be the only way it would pull it down. So it does make you wonder, should you do a pom-pom and see what...
Well, the pattern did have a pom-pom on it, so maybe a pom-pom would pull it down a little bit.
Do it and see what happens.
So maybe I'll do that.
Because if it did pull it down, it might be all right.
I think your colour work's great. I mean, look at his colour work. Do you not think that's brilliant? I think it looks great.
Well, I really enjoyed the challenge of knitting that, and I enjoyed the colour work. I enjoyed every element of it, as much as I've enjoyed anything I've ever done in knitting. So I think colour work is for me big time.
Look at that! Look at that! Is that not brilliant? I think it's stupendous.
Well, you're very kind.
Well done.
You're very kind. Well, look, that segues us rather beautifully, because those are our two What's Off Our Needles, and that formed part of my Knitting Horizons for 2018, because today it is time for us to talk about our Knitting Horizons. Using the power of television, we're going to take ourselves back in time, and we're going to review, rather than us word it in a way which makes it sound, you know, because sometimes, you know, when you say to someone, oh yeah, well, what did you say you were going to do? You word it in a way which makes you sound better now. I think we need to go back to the moment when we were sat here 1 year ago and find out exactly what we said. So,
Okay.
what was Kay's first knitting horizon for 2018? Let's find out.
The first thing that I want to investigate and look into, I've got all this beautiful self-striping sock yarn. I don't generally knit it because, as you know, I always knit heel, flap and gusset. Is there a short row heel that I can find that I will like, I will enjoy knitting, it will fit, and it will look neat and tidy, which was one of the most important criteria. It will look neat and tidy in self-striping socks.
So you're going to design a sock?
Yes.
You're going to design a self-stripe...
A pattern for a self-striping sock.
Right.
Yarn, self-striping sock yarn with an afterthought heel and also a different sort of toe as well.
And so, Kay set herself the horizon of designing a pattern for self-striping socks with the afterthought heel.
No, it's not afterthought.
Oh, sorry, what is it?
It's a short row heel.
Sorry, I did that in the footage.
You did that before, yeah. I'll never say never, but honestly, I don't think I will ever knit an afterthought heel.
I'm sorry. Did you do it?
I did do it.
Woohoo!
So yes, I designed the Dandelion Socks. It's a platinum pattern. And yeah, I did it, short row heel. And I knit 2 pairs actually. And I do wear both of those pairs. They fit fine, but I'm just not a short row heel person.
You're a heel, flap and gusset gal.
I'm a heel, flap and gusset gal.
Well, there you go.
And that's just what fits my foot the best.
Yeah.
But I did it, you know,
and what you said actually as well in that horizon, I think it's important that we remember, you said that you wanted to explore if you could find one that you liked. And you did explore lots.
I did explore it, and I really enjoyed knitting the heel that I came up with. It was fun to knit, and it was obviously quick because short row heels are inherently quick, aren't they? But for me, with a pair of socks, it comes down to the fit.
Yes.
And they are tighter across the instep than the other ones, but I do wear them, so it was a successful thing. And
you're glad you did it?
I'm really glad I did it.
Honestly?
Yeah.
Good.
Absolutely glad I did it.
Good. Well,
yeah.
that's good, because I think what's so important is, and you alluded to this at the start of the show today, and that is that we're not resolutions people.
No.
And a knitting horizon, it's very easy. You know, Kate initially, when we were talking about this, she said, I don't really like this. And it was because you were thinking of the horizons as a resolution.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to slip into that.
It is.
You think.
Yeah.
You see, for us, a resolution is a line in the sand that you cannot cross. That's what you do, isn't it? My New Year's resolution is...
Well, you resolve to do that thing, don't you? So, yeah.
And a horizon, I think, is a little bit more... It's a plan.
Yeah. It's a plan rather than a strict... I'm going to do this. If I set myself a thing where I say, right, I am going to do X, Y, Z, I don't want to do that thing. Even if I did want to do that thing, if I impose such a strict target on myself, it puts me off. Yeah. So I just don't do it.
No, and I'm exactly the same. I've never been a resolutions guy, but what I love and what I've loved about this process of looking back is and I think this is why it's such a good thing to do. When you set out a plan, when you then look back to see how you've done, it gives you an awful lot of emotional, mental payoff when you see what you've succeeded with, and also what you've tried and not enjoyed, because then you've learnt from it.
Yeah.
So what was my first horizon? Let's take a look. I'm super interested. I spoke before about the Christmas in July sweater that I saw on Instagram. And there's loads of other ones as well I've seen. To be honest, whenever I see a colourwork sweater, I really want to knit it. Now, I know that colourwork will be a challenge for me because I need to get my gauge right. So I think that there needs to be a plan put in place. So that is my first knitting horizon. Colourwork, baby. Let's do this.
You've done more than that, though.
I have done more than that.
You've
Look,
done loads of colourwork.
at the start of last year, I wanted to find out more about colour work. Let's get on with this. Let's do this. Let's try it out. Knit.
Did it?
You set out actually in the full episode at the beginning of last year. You said that I should try knitting. That's when we decided to do the split back snowflake hat.
Right.
And then I moved on from there to the Monet, and then from the Monet onto here, the Solia as well. Did it? Love colour work. So glad that I made that one of my horizons for 2018. Let's find out your next horizon for 2018. What was it?
This is going to be a real challenge. You've probably seen this on a lot of podcasts, and I've longed for this book since it only came out in November, I think, but it was on Amazon for way before then. I knew about it way before then. So one of my knitting horizons is to study this book, get my head around it, and somehow incorporate one of the stitch patterns or several of the stitch patterns into a design.
So yes, last year I purchased that for you for Christmas. And you decided that one of your horizons was going to be to creative design.
Yeah.
And I can't even think what it is that you've done.
Well, I have.
I feel terrible.
No, I have used that book for several designs actually. But what I've used it for is I didn't necessarily take, for example, a whole panel and use the whole panel. I took maybe just one little element out of it and then incorporated it into something else. It's brilliant for doing the Japanese Stitch Dictionary, because there are lots of intricate little things within like a bigger pattern. So I actually used it, or part of it, for the Promenade Socks. And I've used it since as well in other designs and in designs that I'm currently working on.
So it's like that book is like giving a designer lots of ingredients that they can take.
Absolutely.
and use.
I've actually seen quite a few designs from other people
That you recognise?
That I recognise as designs from the book.
Right.
So I know that it's being used broadly across designers, and I think that's brilliant. You know, these resources are great. And I just got another Stitch Dictionary for Christmas as well, didn't I?
Yeah.
Which is the second one. I got the second Barbara Walker, which is an old sort of out of print book, but brilliant. So I've got the first two of those now, and I love Stitch Dictionaries. They give me so much inspiration.
That's cool.
You know, I think it's fantastic. So yes, I absolutely did that.
So far we've got 2 horizons and we've got 2 big ticks in the box.
Yeah.
What about my second horizon? Let's find out what it was.
I think you're a garment knitter, personally.
And
that's what my gut is telling me.
That is the question.
And that's completely cool with me.
That's the question that I believe really needs answering. You know, I've knit one garment, I've started a second one, I'm eyeing up a colour work garment. Am I a garment knitter or not?
I'd say he is.
I am most certainly a garment knitter.
And you completed the Samantha.
Completed the Samantha, knitting this, Cascades is on the needles. Yes, okay, I messed it up twice, but it's on the needles and I shall succeed. So definitely a garment knitter. I love the challenge, I love the length of the projects, I love all the different details, things that go into it. So second horizon, big tick for me, love garment knitting.
Brilliant.
What's Kay's last horizon for 2018?
But I want to design a fingerless mitt pattern, and I'm going to put it out as a tutorial series for the patrons.
Like you did.
Like I did
the
for
socks.
the snowfall socks, the bulky weight socks that I did, which everyone really enjoyed. And there was one lady, I can't remember who it was, she knit about 6 pairs of them as Christmas gifts.
So Kay's last horizon, is it another tick in the box? Design a mitt.
Yes, it's a tick in the box. I did do that. I designed the Pippi mitts, which again was a pattern that I used for a tutorial series for our patrons. So the pattern was there with the series. So yes, I did do that. The thing that I kind of failed at, I felt like I failed a little bit on, was the whole Mitmas thing. Because my intention was to knit all these different pairs of fingerless mitts and mittens, and give them as Christmas presents. And I did do that to a degree, but I think I only had 4 or 5 pairs. I forget now how many. But I did use them all as Christmas gifts.
And potentially...
but I just wished there'd been more. I just lost steam with it,
Are they a bit boring?
No, they're not boring at all. I really enjoy knitting mittens and fingerless mitts especially. I really enjoy because they're so simple, really, aren't they? Fingerless mitts are brilliant. But I think because, you know, I'd done a few pairs, and it's a bit like knitting socks, isn't it? You've knit one sock and you might get second sock syndrome. I felt like I'd got mitt syndrome.
Second mitt syndrome.
Because I'd knit 4 or 5 pairs, and I was like, I kind of don't want to do any more at the minute.
Right.
So that's the part of it that I felt like.
But the actual horizon that you set was to design a mitt.
I did that.
So 3 ticks, baby. Is it going to be a full house? What is my final horizon? I'm fascinated by many of the elements of double knitting. The challenge, though, that you have with double knitting is, or that I have with double knitting is, projects tend to take a while. Third knitting horizon, double knitting. This year, I have to move forward with it, because if I don't, it's going to start to move backwards, and I'm worried it will become something that I dabble in rather than something that I properly do. So I don't know if I can give myself a tick for this, because my horizon was, as I've just said there, to find out if I'm a double knitter or not. And actually, what I said in the episode was I needed to progress with it, and I haven't.
You've barely double knit all year.
No, that's not true.
It is true.
It's not true.
It is true.
Well, there's a lot of people out there who are going to be disagreeing with you. Because I've been knitting on my piano #1 scarf, and I've been showing my progress on every episode of Journey to the Centre of the Yoke. So I didn't knit for probably 8 months, and then I picked it up again round about August time. Yeah, it was. I picked it up round about August time and started knitting on it again. And I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. So it's just a bit of knitting for me that, you know, I love the process, I love how it makes me feel, and I think that is what double knitting is for me. It's something that I am going to dabble in. It's not something I'm going to do a lot of, because what I'm really into is this, and garments, and all that type of thing. So those were our knitting horizons for 2018. And we're going to set our new horizons next time, because this show is just too jam-packed. We've not got enough time to really sort of dig into what our plans are for 2018. So tune in episode 117, and it'll be Knitting Horizons Part 2. That's when we'll set our plans absolutely for where we hope that we're going this year. And I've got an absolute corker. I've got 3 corkers, to be honest. But my third one is I'm particularly excited about.
All right.
Yes.
Cool.
It's time for the Endy Bits.
Endy Bits!
Yes. Now, they're mammoth Endy Bits.
They are quite mammoth Endy Bits.
Because the Climb Every Mountain, Cal, is over.
Yeah.
And also,
the Christingle Mingle
is
knit
over.
along has also ended.
Is there anything else that's ended, or is those just the 2 things?
No, that's just the
Good.
2 things.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
So, do you want to start with the Christingle Mingle?
So we've got all the prizes. So if you didn't enter any of these, you might want to skip forward or whatever.
Well, I'd stick around because we're going to be talking about the new knit along, aren't we? For
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So stick around.
Okay. So let's start with the Christingle Mingle knit along winners. Now this had masses of entries. It was absolutely phenomenal. So yay for all you Christingle Mingle knitters. So we had entries from number 2 to number 663.
Look at all that Christmas knitting.
That's just amazing, isn't it?
Goodness me, there's lots of winners.
I've got 10 prizes.
That's exceptional.
So I'm just going to plough through these. Now, I'll say at the beginning, if you win a physical prize that's got to be posted to you, then can you just contact me via Ravelry is probably the easiest. Instagram, I don't mind. If you want to send me a personal message that way, that's fine. Just let me know your full name, full address, and then I'll get your prize sent out. Okay, so prize number 1 was actually a pattern, and that was by Jen Sheelan, very kindly donated. It's the Your Favourite Brew shawl, and that was won by number 124, and that's Pat in Maryland. She is Sarah's Nana on Ravelry. So Pat, well done. I will organise that pattern to be sent through to you on Ravelry. You don't need to actually do anything. Next prize is another pattern, and that was from lovely Natalie Sheldon, and that is for the Brigitte's Garden Socks. Fantastic colourwork sock. And the winner for that is number 463, and that's Chris Marie. So again, Chris, I will organise that pattern and get that sent through to you on Ravelry. Okay, so the first physical prize is this beautiful bag that we've shown before.
I remember when this was.
Yeah, I know. It's lovely. It's from Conchetta. Conchetta made this bag, and her shop is Butternut Handmade UK on Etsy. And she donated this fantastic kind of winter themed bag. It's all woodsy and mushrooms and trees. I absolutely love it. And this bag was won by number 519, and that's Maria in Indiana. And Maria is Bald Man's Wife on Ravelry. These names are brilliant, Maria, I love that. The next prize, this is one that I actually added in. I don't think I ever showed this, but it's 2 skeins of a sock yarn, and I just thought this colour was very festive. So there's 2 skeins of this, which is Lang Magic Tweed Superwash, and it's this gorgeous golden colour. Looks beautiful. So there's 2 balls of that, they're 50-gram balls. And the winner of that is number 338, TB53 on Ravelry. It's TEABEA 53 on Ravelry. If you just let me know, I will get that sent off to you. Now the next one is my yarn. And this was a Christmassy set that I did. The colourway is And to All a Good Night, and it was a yarn set. You get 100 grams of a beautiful Santa Claus red, and then 3 minis in coordinating colours that go with Santa. So the winner of this one is number 586, and that's Michelle, and Michelle is Vin Girl on Ravelry. So Michelle, that yarn is yours. Next this was a little gift from Heather Haynes. She sent us quite a few skeins of yarn actually, but I decided to use this one as the prize. It's an Art Yarns, and it's Merino Cloud. It's an 80% extra fine merino, 20% cashmere. It's super soft, and it's in these gorgeous purples and bits of sort of red and blue. So the winner of that one is number 596, and that's Jamie Lee in Massachusetts. And Jamie Lee is She's Knitting Socks. So that's brilliant. You could have some gorgeous cashmere socks with that, Jamie Lee. So that one is yours. Next is a yarn from Kelly, Lay Family Yarns. This one is her Baby It's Cold Outside. Gorgeous blues and greys. This one has been won by number 35, and that's Emma in Dorset. And Emma is Knitty Moomin on Ravelry. I want to be a Knitty Moomin. Sounds fantastic. Emma, that yarn is yours. Another one from Kelly is, it's this one. It's the Rose Garden colourway. Absolutely gorgeous. Rosy pinks and golds and a bit of green. Beautiful. And that one, the winner for that one is number 606, and that's Robin in Washington. Robin is R.L. Sidwell on Ravelry. So Robin, that beautiful yarn, it belongs to you. And then the last one from Kelly, this one is Old Romance. Again, beautiful speckles, absolutely gorgeous. And this one's on a cashmere base, I think. Yes, 80-10-10. Gorgeous. The winner of this one is number 7. Oh, we love an early number. Number 7, and that is Cass in Wales.
Woohoo.
Yay! And she is Celery Cass. If you just let me know your details, I will get that sent off to Wales. Lovely. And then the last prize that that I decided just to add in is one of my Miss Potter sock clubs. If by chance you've got this, if you've won this, when I say who it is in a second, if you've got the sock club already, just tell me someone you would like to gift it to, and I will send that through. So the winner of that one is number 424, and that's Sylvia in Massachusetts again.
Woohoo.
So yay, Sylvia. So just, if you could contact me and let me know. If you haven't got it, that's great. I will send it you through. If you would like someone else to have it, just give me the Ravelry details and I will send it through. And then something else I will do. Lovely Heather Haynes, who I've just mentioned, you might remember, but she sent me a load of laminated Stash Buster patterns a while ago. Anybody who's won a physical prize, I'm going to add one of those in for you as well. So yay, that's all the winners for the Christingle Mingle.
Now it's time for the Climb Every Mountain prize giving. And this is the year-long patron knit-along that we do. Well, we don't do the same thing every year, we do something different every year.
Yeah, do something different.
So we'll be closing the Climb Every Mountain and beginning...
It's closed.
Yeah, well, it's closed, but we're officially now finishing off the Climb Every Mountain and commencing something new and very exciting. So first of all, let's...
So this particular winner that I'm going to announce now, we had, as well as we've been giving out prizes along the way through the year, we had like a grand prize, if you like, for anybody who filled their rucksack. There was a requirement of items that you needed to fill your rucksack for when you get to the top of the mountain. So anybody who had filled their rucksack entered into a separate thread, and then I've drawn for a winner from that. And the winner of this one wins 3 skeins of yarn dyed by me. You can tell me whether you want 3 skeins the same colour, if you would like to knit a garment, for example, or a large shawl or whatever, or if you would like me just to produce a set of yarns that sort of coordinate with each other. It's entirely up to you. So we had numbers 2 to 37 for this one, and the winner was number 6. And that is La Mindy, she is, on Ravelry, and it's Luciana in Italy. Luciana, you've won! So if you can contact me and let me know what you would like me to do with your 3 skeins of yarn, then I will get those sent out to you. Just give me whatever requirements you want and I will come up with something lovely for you.
So they get to pick the colours, do they?
Yes, you can just tell me whatever you would like, and I will try and custom dye that to the best of my ability to whatever you want. So if you want 3 exactly the same, that's fine, just tell me. Or if you want a variety, just tell me that as well. So whatever you would like.
What we can do now as well is we can confirm how high people climbed.
Yes.
So the knitters climbed 36,673.99 feet. They successfully climbed Mount Everest and Kilimanjaro.
Oh, both of them together?
Yeah, well, they did one after the other, of course.
Well, yes.
What we did was
on one and one on the other.
We followed the routes which climbers would take. If you're climbing Everest, what route would you take? Well, climbed Everest and then climbed Kilimanjaro.
Wow.
Runners and walkers covered 21,651. So what we did was we climbed Everest and we sort of came back down a little bit. And that was it.
So you're stuck up there still?
Well, no, because...
Poor devils.
Because what the knitters did was they climbed to the top of Everest and then were effectively airlifted to Kilimanjaro and then climbed straight up.
That would happen.
I just thought it would be slightly depressing for us to airlift the runners and walkers and then for us to do the tiniest little bit and then not go any further. So I thought best just to leave us on Everest, enjoying the view as we came down a little bit. So well done, everybody. I mean, phenomenal effort. So wonderful seeing all the walking and all the running, but all the knitting. That is such an inspirational thread.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Absolutely.
And
I mean, there was thousands of entries in there. It's just brilliant.
What we hope is that it will be equally as inspirational, if not more, and it's going to need to be more, because you've made it harder.
I've made it a bit harder.
This year.
This year.
What are we doing?
What are we doing? We are embarking upon the Great Pyramid knit-along.
Wow.
So our aim this year is to build a pyramid. And
that's amazing.
Yeah. The way that we're going to do that is we know from Wikipedia, thank you very much, that there are 2,300,000 blocks in the Great Pyramid of Giza, which is the largest pyramid. We thought, okay, we can do that. We can build an equivalent pyramid in knitted blocks, if you like.
It's the ultimate block party.
It is, absolutely. So each knitted item that you complete, in a similar vein to last year's knit-along, each item that you complete will be allocated a certain number of blocks in the pyramid. So the more things we knit, the more blocks we can build and, work our way up to the top. And the aim is that by New Year's Eve this year, we will have completed the pyramid and we will have a topping out party to end all parties on New Year's Eve. I did all the sort of calculations, and I've allocated certain numbers of blocks per item, and all of those details are in the chat thread that's on Ravelry. There's also then an FO thread as well for you to start putting your entries in, just as you did last year. Whips are allowed as long as you weren't more than 50% complete at the beginning of this year. So other than that, you're absolutely fine to include your works in progress. So it starts now, it's underway now, and it's running, like I said, till New Year's Eve. So I will close the thread on New Year's Day. Next year. Gosh, it sounds weird saying next year, doesn't it? We're going to have quarterly prizes again through the year, as we've done for this one. And then we'll have some sort of grand prize at the end of the year as well. We'll think about how we're going to do that. So yeah, there's threads open on Ravelry if you want to join in. This is, as it was last year, sorry darling, a patron-only knit-along. However, we are doing a running and walking like we did last year, and that is open to everyone.
Yes.
So the runners and walkers...
It's the Great Pyramid Run/walk. Let's just call it the Great Pyramid Run. I know some of you guys are walking, but
I'm walking.
I hope she is. She's a great teammate.
I'm on Runkeeper, everyone.
Absolutely. The idea this year is we set off a small intrepid group of walkers and runners on the 1st of January 2019 from the spot where the Great Pyramid is going to be built. And we left just desert, nothing there. The knitters have stayed behind. They're going to get building the pyramid, and we're going to circumnavigate the globe in a completely straight line. So that's 24,901 miles that we need to cover to get back to the exact same spot on New Year's Eve. And when we return, if the knitters have done their job, there'll be a pyramid, and we can have the biggest party ever. Our job this year is to run straight around the world collecting revellers and partygoers along the way, because that is inevitably what happens with this challenge. As we progress, more and more runners and walkers appear, and so we're pulling together our crew of revellers. We should do this, but we won't if we drop off or if people don't get on with it.
And I'm walking.
She is, we're off, and I'm running.
Mine will be a few miles extra.
So all you need to do, and anyone can get involved in this, you're going to make up the bits that we've lost from Dr. Holmes.
Oh, Dr. Holmes, get yourself sorted this year, please.
March, we need you back.
Yes.
She's an important team member. She's been my virtual running partner for the last 4 years, and I've been without her for a little bit. I need her back.
Yes, we need you, Sarah.
We do. So, if you would like to get involved, there is a thread open on Ravelry. It tells you everything that you need to do. It's very straightforward. It's exactly the same as last year. All you need to do is set up a free account on runkeeper.com. You then need to just let me know what your details are. I can then invite you to the group, and the groups are brilliant because you can see everyone else in the group. You can also, there's a chat area in the group on Runkeeper, and you can also see how far you've gone each month and who's in the lead. But it's about the taking part. This is not some competitive thing.
Absolutely.
The only bit of the competition
it's a team
challenge.
It is.
The point is, we want to make sure that we cover 24,901 miles by the end of the year. And, you know, you can track whatever miles you do, but what you're supposed to really do is track the miles which are outside of your normal routine.
Yeah.
So get involved with this activity if you want to get outside, or you could be on a running machine.
You could be on a running machine.
But it must be for things that you do out, so you can't track yourself going and doing the shopping. I mean, you could.
Well, some people.
No one's going to pull you up on that.
No, I mean nobody's going to. No, we're not going to police this, obviously. So use your own discretion. But
exactly.
I know a lot of people have a Fitbit on, don't they, and just track every footstep they take every day. But
that doesn't.
The idea
really
is it's intentional.
Yes.
It's something that's intentional.
So last year, would you believe that I ran 1,006 miles, and every one of those 1,006 miles was a specific intentional activity. It was not me. I mean, to be fair, they're running. It's not like you run places, is it? That's it. Time to build the Great Pyramid and time to collect the revellers for the greatest party ever on New Year's Eve this year. Please come and join us. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Do you have anything else?
I do. I've just got a couple of purchases totally forgot I pre-ordered this. Isn't it great? I love it when that happens. You pre-order something and then a parcel arrives and I kept saying, I've not ordered this. And I opened it and I went, I've not ordered this. And then I thought, yeah, I have. I totally remember ordering it. And it's a skein, another skein from the Yarn Badger, self-striping. You know, I've used her yarn a couple of times. This one was the Yarn Badger. This was Fallen Leaves. But she did a self-striping called Griswold's. Well, I had to have a bit of that, didn't I? And it's on merino, it's the 80-20 merino nylon. And it's these gorgeous colours, self-striping. So I will probably save this now and do these the next Christmas coming. I always want to say next year, but it's this year, isn't it? Yeah. So I got that. And then, amazingly, I got the Claude Monet Opal yarn that I've been talking about for ages. It's now available. Just Google it is what I would advise you. I've got two full sets of it. I ordered one set from Germany and I ordered one set from Woolstack here in the UK because I wanted to have two sets. Because I think it's going to be one of these ranges that when they discontinue it, you're going to want it. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to order two sets. I'm not falling into that Van Gogh thing again where you can't get it for love nor money. I'm having two sets. So there's 8 colours in the range and I haven't actually knit with any of these yet. I'm in that hoarding stage where I just have to have it for a little bit and then I will knit with it. I'll show you a couple of my favourites. So there's 8 colours, like I say, they're all based on Claude Monet paintings. And they're all gorgeous, to be honest. I love them all. They're just beautiful. That's one of my favourites. This one is also one of my favourites, just beautiful. That one looks slightly festive to me. It's reds and pinks and greens and blues. Love it. These blues are beautiful. Love that. And then you get more bright colours. This one is based on, is it chrysanthemums? I think it might be chrysanthemums, that one. But there's 8 altogether, so go and take a look. Just Google Opal yarns, Claude Monet, and it will come up with, you know, whatever is nearest to you if you wanted to go and purchase them. So I will be knitting socks out of these at some point, but for the time being, they're just on my shelf and I'm just enjoying looking at them. Don't want to use them at the minute, but I will. And that's it.
Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching.
Wow.
This is the start of what will be our greatest year yet. And why am I saying that? Well, for all the things that we said at the start of the show, but also production is now underway for the next season, New Adventures, and we've got some of the greatest music ever.
We have.
By my wonderful brother, who I'll put a link in the show notes below. He wrote the music for the New Year's Eve celebrations in Abu Dhabi. The national thousands and thousands. Just amazing. And things are going crazy for him, which is just wonderful because he's worked so hard for so long. Yeah. It's a tough job being a composer, but he's so great. And you know, we're just unbelievably lucky.
You help each other out, don't you? You do drumming for him, and then he gives us music.
And also, I'm quite well connected in the music scene. So, like, he needed some drummers for a job, and I was able to introduce him. So we
help each other out, and that's great. You know?
And that is actually the richest form of currency, I think.
It is, yeah.
Because you get so much more.
It's
you
worth
can't save
so
for your
much
money.
more than somebody paying you for something, because you can't put a price on
the old ways of doing things.
Well, it is.
Before money was invented,
aren't you? You're bartering your trade, your profession.
I scratch his back, he scratches mine.
Yeah.
But
we just got some music off him, and it's absolutely beautiful.
We heard this piece of music at Christmas that he'd done, and we're like, oh my goodness.
And we looked at each other and said, do you think he'll give us that? And we asked him.
We've got to get hold of that.
Yeah, and
he did, which is so great. But there's so many wonderful things coming this year, and they start next episode. Next episode, tune in for the very first in a brand new series, the Bakery Bears Picture Show. Oh yes, it's going to be a challenge and fun, and there'll be ups and downs.
Yeah.
We'll be discovering some new ice cream flavours along the way. We might even be trying some interesting hot dog type things.
Oh no, I won't be doing that.
Well, I sort of feel like we should, or I should.
You should.
We'll
I
see.
Can't risk eating stuff
Yes,
like that.
you know, this time of year, there's only one thing that you can really do when the weather's bad, and just tune in next time. You'll find out all about it. So, this is it, folks. Christmas may be over. Don't be sad. It's a whole new year.
I'm not.
So many wonderful things on the horizon. And we'll see you next time when we'll be finding out what our knitting horizons are for 2019.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for watching.
Thanks, everyone.
See you in 2 weeks.
See you soon.
Oh.
Is sitting and knitting, Dan and Kay the bakery bears. Enthusiasm's not quitting for Dan and Kay the bakery bears. They'll take you to fabulous places of which their favorites they'll share. You better buy a pattern and knit yourself a bakery bear. You'll find yourself in a castle while watching the bakery bears. It never feels like a hassle to sit and watch the bakery bears. What's on your shelf or what's in